So Katrina, I wanted to start with how did you end up finding working with Finn, and did you find any unique benefits of this task?
I thought that it was great having a representative from the startup join us for a few tutorials because it was beneficial to hear firsthand the issues that they've had, and then we could ask questions and get instant feedback, which was great. And so I thought Finn was quite honest and realistic about his goals. So that made it easier for us, the whole job, to work on this project.
Oh, nice. My next question is regarding, again, that same assignment with group work. And I know many students can find group work interesting at times. How did you find having such a large group of 7, and how did you end up feeling that you contributed to a good group dynamic?
So I've worked in many teams over the past 5 years at uni, and I have to say that most of the time there's always something bad that happens. Like the teammates don't contribute or they just don't bother. But I have to say that this group of 7 was like a hardworking bunch of people, and it was a great match. So kudos to Kritika, who put us together. We all had our own strengths and key skills we could bring to the team, and we all really meshed well together. So I thought that was really great. I don't have anything bad to say when it came to our group. I think that we all equally put in like passion and we all motivated each other. So yeah, it worked really well together.
That's good. And then my next, following on from that, I was going to ask, do you think that the group project process is beneficial for everyone involved?
I do. I think that this sort of process is beneficial because it happens in the real world. It's something that mimics what professionals really do. So I do think doing it in a mock environment helps us learn the skills that we could put to use if we get into that business in the real world in the future. So yes.
Sweet. And I wanted to ask, what was the thing that you found most rewarding throughout this semester?
To be honest, over the whole semester, I was excited to come to class and learn about entrepreneurship and innovation. And so I was passionate to work with this startup company. I believe that youngster.co's key goal was amazing, and I was happy to be allocated to work with this team. I thought that helping them out was the most rewarding experience because I know how hard it is for my grandparents to deal with technology. They're constantly asking us how to do this and how to do that. And it's good to kind of get not a professional, but someone who has the knowledge and could speak to the elderly people in a way that would make them understand and help them out in a way that's really beneficial for them. And I just think it's pretty awesome. So yeah, I thought that was the most rewarding experience, being able to help the company and the company helping the elderly.
Okay, so did you find any challenges along the way then?
I'm not a very good public speaker. So when I'm good with talking to a small group of people who I've been acquainted with and like one-on-one situations, but I'm not really good in front of a big classroom. So that was the biggest challenge for me, standing up in front of the class and in front of Finn, pitching our idea. I am glad that we got a practice round, so the draft pitch was good, but I think that was a good way to ease me in and then be prepared for the final pitch, because then we got feedback and we picked on the things that we needed to work on and we worked on them, and then we put it towards the final pitch. I thought that was great.
Sweet. And thinking of things that you worked on, did you utilize any advice or any of the guest lectures throughout the semester?
So I really enjoyed the fireside chat with the craft club. I think her name is Nakisa, and she was like really enthusiastic. I love crafts. I love cross stitching and that sort of thing. So when she was talking about the kits, I got interested. I looked at her website and I thought the key thing that I took away from her chat was she mentioned how early on we're taught to second guess ourselves and our ideas. And so she overcame this, and the way she described it was really something that stuck with me. So putting that towards anything I do at uni or in my future career, yeah, something that stuck with me.
Right. And just final question, do you think any of the ideas that you proposed will get implemented by youngster?
I hope so. We put so much effort into the research and the justification, like not just our group, but all the other groups. I do think there were many good ideas. Even if they start implementing little ideas slowly, then they build it up. I think that would be great because now the idea of helping the elderly with tech isn't going to go away anytime soon. I do think there's a need for it. So yeah, I hope they do. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for this interview.
Thank you. Tom, I just wanted to know overall, how much did you enjoy working as a team to solve the real world innovation problem?
Hey, Kat. Well, I always kind of enjoy group work because I feel like I am more accountable to others. And I like to kind of work with others because I feel like many minds are better than one. And I found in this instance, it was really good to be able to work with Finn to solve an actual problem. We're not just kind of theorizing stuff. We're trying to come up with an actual solution that can get implemented into a real life business.
And are there any qualities or skills that you think innovators need to work on projects, to work on innovation problems, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think it's very important that they're highly motivated, number one, and resilient. Like we've heard through Finn, he's had a couple of goes at this and that he's willing to keep going, I think is quite important because I think it's always hard to start, especially with a startup. So they have to have good resilience, good motivation, and then finally also a really good long-term vision so that they can keep up their motivation.
What was the most interesting thing that you learned during this semester or the group project or overall?
I think it was mainly working with Finn and hearing their story, like a father and son expansion business, having their goals. And I thought it was really cool how they wanted to solve both elderly people struggling with technology, but then also young people developing social skills, connections, and kind of like a sense of belonging and storytelling. I thought having those two stakeholders in mind, I thought that was really cool to learn about and then hopefully try and help them along the way.
That's cool. Were there any strengths that you believe you had as a team member that you brought towards the team? Like, is there anything in particular?
I think I like to be organized and in control, which can sometimes be a weakness.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
As in, I like that too, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I think it was also because I had past experience with my grandparents where I'd like write out on paper like the instructions for how to answer the phone and this and that. And then the next week I'm back there and they've like moved it somewhere and it's like, oh. So I thought that was kind of cool to kind of know what it's like and know some of the struggles. Not that we can always solve them, but kind of hope that my context and experience might somehow help with coming up with ideas and stuff.
Yeah. It's always good to have that experience behind it. It makes it easier to come up with those ideas, hey?
Yeah, for sure.
What about weaknesses? Do you think there were any weaknesses that you, or things that could pose as opportunities for you to improve on, something like that?
Yeah, well, like I said before, I think having 7 people, especially for our interim 5-minute pitch, I found it hard to only have like 40 seconds and a lot of aspects that we were doing were kind of overlapping. So I would say some ideas, and for example, Nathan would give like the logistics behind it. So I found that a bit of a challenge to not be like running over each other, not be doubling up, but then trying to allocate our task appropriately. So I thought that was a bit challenging, but overall, I think everyone worked together pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. And similar to the question you posed to me, working with 7 people, working with a diverse group of people, were there any advantages and disadvantages to that?
I think it was good because we were able to kind of separate each strategy and into different tasks and almost mini groups working together. And then also lots of people had different ideas because we had like a Facebook marketing campaign, we had our golf day, we had different, it's like someone came up with the church's idea, which the youngster hadn't even come up with. So I think having these different people is good, being able to have all these different ideas and then we can all kind of choose our best ones.
Is there any aspect that you would improve on if you were to work on a similar project in the future? And so what I mean by this is there something that you would do differently maybe?
It's hard because with so many people, there's only so much that you can help. But I think it would have been good to practice a bit more, just for timing, because we did go over a bit, which was a bit frustrating. Because apart from that, I felt like everyone was pretty happy with how our project turned out.
Yeah, I think we got everything we needed to say, but because we went over, we should have consolidated that, made it a little bit shorter because it was a 10-minute pitch, not a 12-minute one. I think we had 12. Yeah, no, I agree. And lastly, are there any skills that you have acquired over this semester during the group project or the individual assessments that you could use in other areas of your professional life?
Yeah, I think so. So importantly, when with the guest lectures with week 7, when I used Mike Belmore's lecture, he taught me some interesting things, especially regarding teaching. He had the rule of 3, which I implemented with the churches, RSLs, and golf clubs, as 3 makes it easier to remember. And then also he had basically with the structure, it's important to outline the problem and then use storytelling with a personal experience and then creating a solution, which I was happy to implement because Finn gave us a story. So I was able to implement that as what was the problem in the shopping centers, and then our solution is community implementation.
Yeah, that sounds good. It's good that that guest lecturer had helped you with a key skill or a technique that you could use and implement. Well, thank you for that. And that concludes our interview, I guess.
Oh, good. My pleasure.